Hello, good morning, dear students. Good morning. I hope that you got enough chance to practice all the questions which was given yesterday. And thank you so much for joining today's session. My name is Ahmed Sir. I'm a master teacher at sisyaclass for math, coding and robotic. Here today we have connected to solve sample papers of math CBSE because tomorrow we have examination, right? And we need to make sure that we are completely prepared. So when we say prepared, it doesn't just mean that we are prepared conceptually and we know all the concepts, but we are also prepared in time management aspect as well, right? And therefore today we are going to solve sample papers and see that how these questions can be solved. Okay, today's session is broken down into two pieces. The first half of the paper will be solved today, right now itself, and the second half of the paper, of the same paper, will be solved in the evening. So stay tuned and make sure that you join the evening session as well. Okay, I hope that all of you are continuously and very rigorously training yourself, getting the revision done, and I believe that all the previous videos that we have created covering each and every chapter has been fruitful for you, right? If you have missed any video, just make sure that you go back to our channel and look for the chapter that you have difficulty in and watch the video. I'm damn sure that you will be able to solve the questions of that chapter after looking at the video. So without a further ado, let's get started. This is the today's session. So the final countdown has already started, and I believe that all of you have rigorously trained yourself. These were the timetable that we had a series of all math chapters, and in matter of 10 days we covered all the syllabus, the entire syllabus of class 10th CBSE maths. Okay, today is the second last day. Tomorrow also we're gonna have a live session early in the morning at 5 o'clock, just for you students, just for you dear students. All right, so today the session is all about sample paper. Okay, we'll be moving ahead and we'll quickly starting with question number 1. Okay, so we have 1 mark question that we'll be starting our papers from, and we'll see that how these questions can be solved. The more fast you solve these questions, the better the time you will get remaining for solving all the other questions. 1 mark questions will comprise of total 20 questions, 18 MCQs plus 2 assertions and reasons. So just make sure that on an average you give not more than 1 minute to each question, so that you can have time enough left for solving all the other questions. Okay, so let's get started with the first part now. So here is the question: the distance of point -1, 7 from x-axis is what? Okay, so sometimes people get really confused with this, because when we talk about the distance from x-axis, we are supposed to take the y coordinate, and if we are supposed to take the distance from y coordinate, we'll take the x coordinate, right? Okay, so remember this thing always, that let's suppose that we have a graph this way. Okay, and -1 is somewhere here, 7 can be considered here, so we can say that this is the point that we are speaking of. Okay, 7 is over here. Okay, now the thing is, if you look at the point is here. This is the point that we are talking about. This is -1, 7. Now if you look, the distance that we are asking is from x-axis. Now from x-axis, how many unit it is away? So that will be given by the value from the y-axis, and from y-axis it is 7 units away. So 7 units will be the answer. And if you look at the options, the correct option is gonna be option B. I hope so this is clear and super easy for all of you, right? Let's move ahead. Okay, so 1 mark we already got. Okay, let's move ahead. What is the area of a semicircle of diameter D? Okay, so let's not confuse ourselves. What I'll do is, I'll firstly find out the area of the circle, and then I will divide it by 2 to get the area of the semicircle. Okay, so the given value for us is the diameter, right? So what will be the radius? Radius will be diameter divided by 2. Okay, so radius is always half of diameter. Okay, let's try to find out the area of semicircle. Okay, so I'll say I'll say area of semicircle. So area of semicircle is equal to half of area of circle. I hope so this is clear, right? So that will be half of pi r square. Okay, half of pi r square. Now if you substitute these values, you will see that we have the value of r, and what is the value of r? That is d by 2. So we'll say 1 by 2 into pi into d by 2 the whole square, which will give you pi d upon 2 into 2 square will be 4. So 4 2s are 8, right? So this will be the answer. And if I remove the fraction from it aside, so we'll be having 1 by 8 pi d square, right? So 1 by 8 pi d square. Not this one, not this one. Option C is the correct one answer over here. Okay, I hope so this is clear to all of you. Okay, very simple questions. We don't need to spend too much time in solving MCQ questions. Okay, let's move ahead. Then we'll be moving ahead to the next part. Then we have, if a and b are the zeros of the polynomial x minus 1, then value of a plus b is what? Okay, so the polynomial that we have is x minus 1. Okay, so let us try to solve this. X minus 1, x square minus 1. Okay, now x square minus 1 can be written in this form, x square minus 1 square. And if you know this is in the form of the identity a square minus b square. Now a square minus b square will be equal to a plus b into a minus b, right? And because we have the polynomial over here and we have the value of zeros, right? So we'll just keep it 0 over here. So we'll have x minus 1 into x plus 1 is equal to 0. You can equate this term with 0 once, then you can equate this term with 0 once. The value that you will get is x minus 1 is equal to 0 or x plus 1 is equal to 0, right? Then what you are supposed to find? X will be equal to, x is equal to, this will be plus 1 or x is equal to minus 1. So the two roots that we got is actually plus 1 and minus 1. We'll say therefore a is equal to 1 and b is equal to minus 1. So these are the two roots, but we are not supposed to find out the value of root. The value that we are supposed to find is a plus b. So a plus b can be found as a plus b is equal to 1 plus minus 1, which is 1 minus 1, which is 0. So the answer will be equal to how much? 0. So option D will be the correct answer. See, that's how simple 1 mark question would be. Do not spend too much time over here. Just make sure that you quickly solve, you re-verify, and then move to the next question. Okay, let's move ahead to the next question now. Then we have sec when expressed in terms of cot theta is equal to. Okay, now we have sec theta over here. Okay, and sec theta in terms of cot theta will be equal to what? And I'll go a little bit slow over here because there are students usually tend to get some difficulty in solving trigonometric questions. Okay, so we'll try to solve that. Okay, so we have sec theta over here. So what identity do we have related to sec? So one identity that we have is 1 plus tan square theta is equal to sec square theta. Okay, this is the identity. Now the question is, can I turn this equation in a way that we can remove this tan in and put cot over here? Can we do something that we can put cot over here? So we know that tan and cot are reciprocals of each other, right? So what I can do is, instead of writing tan, I can write 1 upon cot. Okay, so this is how the answer will come. 1 plus 1 upon cot square theta is equal to sec square theta. Okay, the reason is what? The reason is since tan theta is equal to 1 upon cot theta. Okay, So this will be the reason for it. Okay, now what I will do is, and I'll just keep this in a circle. Okay, now 1 plus, what I'll do is, here we don't have anything in the denominator, so I can write as 1, and then you can multiply these two numbers to find out the LCM. So 1 into cot square will be equal to cot square theta, plus 1 into 1 will be equal to 1 upon 1 into cot square will be equal to cot square theta again. Okay, and now if you see it, the equation is moving slowly towards what we were wanting, but still we want the value of sec theta, but not sec square theta. So what we'll do is, we'll square root both the side. I'll switch the RHS with LHS, and because we are switching it, so we don't need to change the sign. Okay, so we'll say sec square theta is equal to cot square theta plus 1 divided by cot square theta. Okay, now because I don't want this square over here, so I'll square root, and because I'm taking the square root of the LHS, therefore I'll take the square root of RHS also. Okay, so square rooting both the sides. Okay, so the square root of sec square theta will be equal to sec theta. This will be entire term, and we cannot, we basically will keep it under the root only. So we'll have cot square theta plus 1 divided by the square root of cot square theta over here will be cot theta. Okay, now one mistake that most of the students might do over here is taking the square root of cot square theta as cot, plus taking the square root of 1 as 1, and they will write over here, and then they will not put the square root symbol, which is actually wrong, right? So these two can be considered as a single term, and unless you do not add them, you cannot take the square root of it. Okay, so therefore this will be the answer. Now let's try to find out if this answer is anywhere in the options or not. So we have cot plus 1 upon cot square theta plus 1 upon cot. So this is the one, option number C. See, option number C says 1 plus cot square theta. So 1 and cot square theta both are getting added, divided by cot theta. So that's how you get the answer. I hope so this is clear to all of you, right? Okay, if you have any questions or any doubts, you can drop your comments in the chat section, so that I can respond to your questions and see if I can help you in any case. Okay, all right, let's move ahead now. Okay, so moving to the next question now, we have question number 5. If p square is equal to 32 by 50, then p is an. Okay, now what is p? Is it rational or irrational, or it can be both? This is something that we should tell. Okay, now let's say, so p square is equal to 32 by 50. Let us reduce this fraction to its minimal form. Okay, reduce this fraction to minimal form. So I'll just divide it by 2. So this will be 16 and this will be 25. Okay, it cannot be divided further. So I'll have p square is equal to 16 by 25. If I'll take the square root of both the sides, we'll get p is equal to plus minus of 4 by 5. Now we cannot divide this further, and therefore we can say that this number can be represented in the form of p by q. Okay, it can be represented by p by q. Now in the comment section, I want all of you to tell me that what kind of number can be represented by the fraction p by q. Is it rational number or is it irrational number? Quickly in the comment section, guys. Great. Yes, okay. So all the fractions which can be written in the form of p by q can be considered as a rational number, right? And therefore p is equal to plus minus 4 by 4 is actually a rational number. Okay, so we'll just say p square is equal to 32 by 50 is a rational number. It is a rational number. Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, then the next question that we have is the pair of linear equation 2x is equal to 5y plus 6 and 15y is equal to 6x minus 8 represents two lines which are, and then we have several options over here. The option says, is it intersecting, is it parallel, is it coincident, or either intersecting or parallel. Okay, so this cannot be. This option number 4 is completely pointless. Why? It can either be intersecting or parallel, but we cannot say this together, right? It is either that side or that side, this side, right? Okay, so now it can be either intersecting, parallel, or coincident. Okay, now how the graph will look like. So for intersecting, let's say that we have this Cartesian plane with x and y axes. Let's say that we have two lines, okay, this way. So this point will be considered as a point of intersection, correct? And because it is considered as point of intersection, therefore we'll have only one set of distinct solution. Okay, however, if we talk about another Cartesian plane where we have two parallel lines, these two equations will have no solutions at all. Okay, and then if this third one, and we have already covered this in our previous sessions. Okay, so let's say that if we have one line, and on that line itself we have the second line coinciding each other, right, then these two equations will have infinitely many solutions. Okay, let's move ahead. Fine. So here in the equation, so what we'll do in examination, see, this is just, and keep this in mind, that this is just 1 mark question. So solving these equations by graphical method and then checking if what kind of solutions we are having over here doesn't make sense, right? We need to, if it is 1 mark question, we need to give the time accordingly, isn't it? Okay, so what we can do is, so this is a method that we need to find out, that we will be using to find out if these two equations are having what kind of solutions. Okay, so equation number 1 is 2x is equal to 5y plus 6, and the second equation is 15y is equal to 6x minus 18. Okay, so these are the two equations that we have. Okay, now the thing is that the very first step that we need to do is to convert your equation into standard form. Okay, we'll change the equation into standard form. Okay, so standard form means that we'll write x first, then y, then the constant number followed by 0. Okay, so we'll say, or we can keep the constant value after the equal to sign also, but if you're keeping the constant inside the equation in the LHS, we'll do the same thing for the both. But if you want to keep outside the equation, which is in the RHS, then you will do the same thing for both. So just make sure that for both the equation you're keeping the constant at the correct place. Okay, many students do mistakes over here. Okay, let's move ahead. So we have 2x minus 5y is equal to 6. So in my case, what I'm doing is I'm keeping the constant value in the RHS. Okay, so the same thing I will maintain over here also. Okay, now here we have my 6x, right? What I'll do is I'll bring 6x over here, so that will be minus 6x plus 15y is equal to minus 18. Okay, now we have the equation in standard form. And guys, please make sure that you remember this point, that we will not be moving ahead with these steps unless we are converting our equations into standard form. If you're not converting that into standard form, you will not get the correct answer at all. Okay, so let's see. Fine, so here this will be considered as a1. Okay, the coefficient of x can be considered as a1, the coefficient of y over here will be b1, and this will be c1. Okay, 1 1 1 stands for the coefficients from equation 1. Okay, then we have a2, then we have b2, and then we have c2. Let's try to find out the ratio of every coefficient, and let's see that what values are we getting. Okay, so let's see what values we are getting. So a1 upon a2 will be equal to, we'll get 2 upon minus 6, and don't forget about the sign. Okay, so we have over here the value minus 1 by 3. Okay, so we got one fraction. Then we have b1 upon b2. Okay, the value of b1 is equal to minus 5 and b2 will be equal to 15, right? Again you will get minus 1 by 3. Then we'll say c1 upon c2. If you find out c1 upon c2, the value will be, c1 is 6 and this will be minus 18. Again you will get minus 1 by 3. In this case, what is happening is all the three fraction that we found is minus 1 by 3, minus 1 by 3 and minus 1 by 3. When we get all the fractions as equal value, then we say that we have infinitely many solutions, and infinitely many solutions comes when they are actually coinciding with each other. Okay, and therefore option number C will be correct. Okay, infinitely many solutions, and therefore the correct answer will be option number C. Okay, I believe this is clear to all of you, right? Great, wonderful. Okay, let's move ahead now. Okay, then the next thing is, in the given figure, and triangle ABC and triangle QPR, they both are similar. If AC is 6, BC is 5, QR is 3 centimeter each, and PR is X, then the value of X is, we are supposed to find out the value of X. Okay, and I really like questions, similar triangle questions where the name of the triangle is given in the question itself, because this name will actually help you a lot to find out the ratios. Okay, now we know that for two similar triangles, the corresponding sides are proportionate, right? The corresponding sides are always proportionate. Okay, so therefore what we can say is that AB is proportionate to QP, BC is proportionate to PR, and AC is proportionate to QR. Okay, so that's how you can find the proportionate fractions. Okay, so what we can say over here is we have AB upon QP. Okay, so we have AB upon QP. Okay, AB upon QP. So AB and QP, in both the triangles we don't have the values, right? So do we need this fraction? No, we don't need, right? So I'll just cross it out. Okay, or let's not cross it out. What I'll do is I'll write the entire expression, and then we'll see that what point we want and what point we don't want. Okay, so we have over here AB upon QP will be equal to BC upon PR, right, is equal to AC upon QR. Okay, now AB and QP in both the places we don't have any value, nor we need to find any value. Therefore this fraction is not useful for us in this question. Okay, then we have BC. The value of BC is gonna be 5, so I'll just write 5 upon PR is gonna be X, so I'm gonna say X. AC is gonna be 6, so I'm gonna write 6, and then we have QR is gonna be 3. Okay, so this will be half, right? So X will go upside, right, and 2 will multiply by 5, which will give you 10. Okay, 10 what? Centimeter. That will be your answer. That's how simple it is. Okay, but what kind of mistakes students do in this kind of question is that they make wrong fractions. Over here, and therefore they end up placing the wrong number in the equation, and that leads you to wrong answer also. Okay, so just make sure that your ratios, all the ratios that you create are correct, and that can be done if you use the name of the triangle which is given in the question. Okay, so first 2 points corresponding to first 2 points, second and third point corresponding to second and third point, first and third point corresponding to first and third point. That's how you name the fractions. Okay, in similarity questions. Okay, this is something that you should always keep in mind. Okay, let's move ahead. So the correct answer over here is option C, 10 centimeter. Okay, let's move ahead. Then moving to the next question is the roots of the equation x square plus 3x minus 10 is equal to 0 are. So it's a quadratic equation, and we are supposed to find out the roots of the quadratic equation. There are many methods that we can solve. We have the formula method, we have the splitting method, right? Factorization method. We can use any method to find out the value. Whatever method that you find is convenient for you and you can solve it in very small amount of time and you're confident, use that method. Okay, I would say solving this equation, if you look over here, the equation is like it has very small numbers, so I feel like solving it with the fraction method or factorization method is much more easier. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll say x square plus 3x minus 10 is equal to 0. Now we need a splitting term to split minus 10. So we need to split minus 10 in a way that if we multiply these two numbers, we'll get minus 10, but if we add these two numbers, we should get 3. What that number can be? It can be 5 2s are, right? So on multiplication, we should get this. On addition, we should get this. Okay. So 5 2 times 10, 5 minus 2 is 3. Okay. Now the thing is, how can I give the sign to it? Okay, what sign should I give to 5? What sign should I give to 2? This is something that again the students face difficulty to conclude. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, this is a trick. What we'll do is, we'll take this middle term. The middle term over here is plus 3x, and what is the sign of it? Plus. So I'll take this plus and give it to the bigger number. Which is the bigger number? 5. So I'll say 5. That's it. Okay. Then you'll see upon multiplication you need a minus sign. Now because 5 is already positive, we need one negative. Where can we put that negative to? We can put over here to minus 2. That's how you find out that which sign should be given to the splitting terms. Okay. Then to cross verify, what you can do is you can add these two numbers. So plus 5 minus 2 will be equal to plus 3, and plus 3 is something that we actually want. So the splitting term that we got is correct. Okay. So this can be written as plus 5x minus 2x. So this is actually how 3x can be splitted. 3x can be splitted as plus 5x minus 2x. Okay, I believe this is clear to all of you. Alright, now moving ahead to the next question, next part. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this entirely and put it inside 3x. So what I'm going to do is, we'll get x square, let's say plus 5x minus 2x minus 10 is equal to 0. Now we have two terms, two groups over here basically. Okay, so in the first group, the common term that we have is actually x. So I'm going to write x. Okay, I'm going to write x into x plus 5. Okay, then over here I'll take out negative as a common term and 2 from here common. How am I taking 2? Because 10 can be written as 2 into 5, right? So 2 from here and 2 from here. So I'm going to write 2. Then what I'm getting left over here is x, and this minus is already outside, so I'll write plus, and then what we have left over here is 5, so I'll write 5. So x plus 5 is inside the bracket twice for these two groups. We'll write it only once, so we'll write x plus 5 into x minus 2 is equal to 0. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll equate the bracket with 0. Okay, so what we'll get is, we'll get x plus 5 is equal to 0, or we'll say x minus 2 is equal to 0. Okay, now let's try to find out the answer. So we have x is equal to minus 5, and then we have x is equal to 2. This will be the answer. Let's try to find out. So we have minus 5 and 2. Minus 5 into option A. Option A is correct. Okay, that's how you solve by the method of factorization. Okay, I believe this is clear to all of you. Okay, moving ahead. Question number 9. The number of quadratic polynomials having zeros minus 5 and minus 3 is. So basically, what is minus 5 and minus 3? Minus 5 can be considered as alpha, minus 3 can be considered as beta. Right, so we have the value of alpha and beta, which is actually the zeros of the equation. Okay, they are the zeros of the equation. So let me write it over here. So alpha is equal to minus 5, beta is equal to minus 3. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll find out, and the question is saying that how many quadratic polynomials having zeros can be using zeros, these can be made, right? So let's try to make the quadratic equation first. Okay, so to find out the quadratic equation, we'll first take the sum of zeros. Sum of zeros will be minus 5 plus minus 3, which will be equal to minus 5 minus 3, which can be equal to minus 8. Okay, so now we have the sum of zeros. Now we'll take product of zeros. So product of zeros will be alpha into beta, which means it will be equal to 5 into minus 3. Okay, so 5 3 is a 15 and minus minus plus. Okay, so that will be 15. How do we create the quadratic equation using these two terms, the sum of zeros and product of zeros? That can be found using this expression, x square minus alpha plus beta x plus alpha into beta is equal to 0. Okay, that will give us x minus alpha plus beta is equal to minus 8. So we'll say minus 8x plus alpha into beta is 15. So we'll have 15 is equal to 0. Then we have x plus 8x plus 15 is equal to 0. We got one quadratic equation. How many? 1. So is the correct answer 1? Well, hold on. Okay, we cannot conclude it right away. The question is saying that how many ratios, or sorry, how many quadratic equations can we get using the zeros that we have given, right? And we were able to get only one. But this has some extension, and you need to put a little bit more mind into it. Okay, what if I multiply the number by 2? So I'll multiply it over here also. So 2 into 0 is 0, right? If I multiply by 2, I'll get a new equation. What? It will be 2x square plus 16x plus 15 is, sorry, plus 30 is equal to 0. What if I multiply by 3? Then I'll get a new equation. We'll get 3x square plus 24x plus 45 is equal to 0. What if I multiply by 4? Then we'll get 4x square plus 32x plus 60 is equal to 0. What if I multiply by 5? We'll get one more equation. Multiply by 6, one more equation. Multiply by 7, one more equation. So I can multiply the entire equation with any number. Let's consider that number to be as k. Okay, so we can multiply this equation with a value k, which is a non-zero value. Okay, and we can keep on getting many equations which will still have the same roots, right? And therefore, is the answer 1? No. Is the answer 2? No. Is the answer 3? No. But the answer is more than 3. In fact, it is infinite number of equations can be created. Okay, infinite number of equations can be created in this case. I believe this is clear, right? Okay, so this was a trick question, and only if you understand the true essence of this concept is only you will be able to solve this question, or else not. Okay, let's move ahead to the next part. Then we have a question from geometry. Okay, this is in triangle ABC we have PQ and BC as parallel. So PQ and BC, these two are parallel. Okay, PB is 6 centimeters. So let me write PB is 6 centimeter, AP is 4, AQ is 8. Find the length of AC. Okay, so now here, if you remember, the very first theorem in triangle chapter is basic proportionality theorem, right? We can use basic proportionality theorem. Why? Because we have a line intersecting two sides of a triangle where it is parallel to the third side, which is the base, right? So by the theorem it says that the point of intersections in the two sides that this segment is making will divide these sides in equal ratios. Will divide the sides into equal ratio, which means that the value we'll get is AP upon AB. So we'll say AP upon AB will be equal to AQ upon QC. So we have AQ upon QC. Okay, so AP and AB, if you take the ratios, that will be 4 by 6, and AQ is equal to 8. Let me write a good 8. This doesn't looks like 8. Okay, so we have 8 divided by, then we have QC, which is X. Okay, let's divide these two numbers. So we'll get 2, here we'll get 3, and we'll bring X over here. So X will be equal to 8 times 3 divided by 2. 2 ones are 2 fours are. X will be equal to 4 times 3 is 12. So the value of X is gonna be 12. Let's say 12. Here is the answer. Option A is correct. That's a simple and very easy question. Okay, this question was solved using the basic proportionality theorem. Okay, let's move ahead. Then we have the next question. In the given figure, PQ is a tangent to the circle with center O. PQ over here is a tangent. Okay, and we have a circle with center O. Okay, if angle OPQ is X, OPQ is X and POQ is Y, POQ is Y, then X plus Y will be equal to how much? Okay, so and what will happen is, we already know that the relationship between a tangent and the radius from that point is that the tangent and radius is always perpendicular to each other, and therefore we can say that this is 90 degree. Now if we consider triangle POQ, so we'll say triangle it should be POQ. So we'll say POQ, angle P plus angle O plus angle Q will be equal to 180 degree. By what property? Sum of interior angle of triangle property. Okay, so we'll add all these values. So the value of P is X, value of O is Y, and value of Q is 90 degree is equal to 180. So we'll get X plus Y is equal to 180 minus 90. So X plus Y will be equal to 90. That's the answer that we want. We don't want the value of X and Y separately, we just want the value of X plus Y together. So that is 90 degree. Option B will be the correct answer. Very simple and straightforward question. Moving ahead to the next question. Then we have two dice are thrown together. The probability of getting the difference of number on their upper faces equals to 3. The difference of these two numbers on the upper faces should be 3. We have two dices together. So what is a sample set? So sample set will look something like this: 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, all the way up to 6, 6. Right? Okay, this is the sample size. Now let's try to find out the count of events where we can get two numbers, where if we minus these two numbers we'll get the difference as 3. Okay, let's name this event as A. Okay, so the set A will become something like this. So set A, let's see in row 1. So that would be 4 minus 1, right? 4 minus 1. So 4 minus 1 will be equal to 3, and we are not talking about minus 3, we're just talking about 3. Okay, so 4 minus 1, then we have 5 minus 2, then we can take 5 minus 2 is taken, right. Okay, so what I'll do is, to make things simple, we'll take the first row first. Okay, so row number first we'll take, so that things will be easy for us. Okay, this can be also done, but at times we can get confused. In this row I will say 1 minus 1 will be 0, 1 minus 2, 1 minus 3, all of these will give us negative numbers, so row number 1 is not useful. In terms of row number 2, we'll have 2 minus 2, 3, 0, 2 minus 3, all the numbers will be 0, right? Okay, we'll do this way. What I can do is, here we'll write 1 difference of numbers of their upper sides. Okay, so the difference will be, right, so we can just take the numbers. So 1 comma 4, then we can take 2 comma 5, then we can take 3 comma 3 cannot come, right, 3 comma 6, yeah, it can come, Then we have, let's say, 4 comma 1, and 1 comma 4 and 4 comma 1 will be treated different, right? And we don't want to minus it in a specific order. We can just see the difference, that's it. Okay, so 1 and 4 will also be 3, then 5 and 2, and then 6 and 3. How many are we getting total? We are getting 6. So n of s is equal to how much? 6 6 are 36, and n of a is how much? It is 6. So p of a, probability of having a, is n of a divided by n of s, which will be equal to 6 upon 36. 6 ones are 6 6 are, the probability will be 1 by 6 times. Okay, so 1 6 will be the correct answer. I believe this is clear to all of you, right? Okay, so let's move ahead now to the next question. Then we have a card is drawn at random from a well shuffled pack of 52 cards. The probability that the card drawn is not an ace, we are supposed to find out. Okay, we are supposed to find out the probability that the card is not an ace. Okay, so let's try to find out that. Okay, how many ace do we have in a pack of 52 cards? Comment in the chat so that I can see that how many of you actually know about it. Okay, so we have a pack of 52 cards. Okay, and inside that we have 4 aces from each color and from each shape. Okay, 4 aces. If I remove all the 4 faces, then we will be left with 48 cards. So this will be the value of my sample, this will be the value of my event. Okay, so let's try to find out the probability. So probability of the event of getting not an ace card will be probability of a divided by number of a divided by number of s. Number of a is gonna be 48 and number of s is gonna be 52. Okay, 52. Now we'll divide these two numbers. So dividing it by, let's say, dividing it by 2, so we'll get 24. Dividing it 2, we'll get 26, right? Again dividing by 2, we'll get 14. Dividing by 2, we'll get 13, right? 13 and 14. Sorry, not 14, it will be 12. I was wondering how are we getting this number, right? So we have 12. Okay, so 13 by 12 will be the answer. Probability of a will be equal to 12 upon 13. This will be the answer for us, 12 by 13. So that the correct answer is going to be option number D. Okay, I believe this is clear again to all of you. Okay, please comment in the chat if you have any questions. I'll be there to help you. Okay, now again, if we look at question number 14 over here, if theta is an acute angle of a right angle triangle, then which of the following equation is true? Which of the following equation is true? Here we need to solve all of them and see that in all the cases if LHS and RHS are correct or not. Okay, so we have sine theta into cot theta is equal to cos theta. Okay, I'll take the LHS part first. So we have sine theta multiplied by cot. Cot can be written as cos theta by sine theta, right? And then sine gets cancelled and we'll get cos theta only left, and that is the RHS, which means that this equation is correct. It is not true. It is not false. Okay, so moving ahead to the next, option B. So we have cos theta into tan theta is equal to sine theta. Okay, so that can be written as cos theta into sine theta by cos theta. Cos theta gets cancelled. We are left with sine theta, which is equal to RHS. Again, this equation is also true. The second thing that we have is, this looks like an identity. So what we'll do is, we'll see the identity. So we have 1 minus cot square theta is equal to cosec square theta. Okay, we can just move this minus cot square theta that side. So what we'll get is 1 is equal to cosec square theta plus cot square theta. Let's see if this is correct. This I think has some problem, right? So we'll keep this for later. Okay, I'm just keeping across over here. Now let's talk about this one. Okay, so 1 minus tan square theta is equal to sec square theta. Okay, so that will be equal to 1 minus tan square theta plus we get sec square theta. So now let's see what are the values that we are actually getting. Okay, so the equation is something that we have already written. So tan square theta minus sec square theta is equal to 1 tan square theta minus tan sec square, and cosec 1. In this case, we are saying that both of these two values will not be true. Can we say that sec square theta and cot square theta, they both are equal in both the cases? Cosec square theta plus cot square theta is equal to 1. This equation is wrong. Even this equation will be considered as wrong because it's not matching our equation. So tan square theta plus sec square theta. Yeah, in this case both the questions are not meeting, and I feel that both the options over here are not giving the correct answer. So I think that there might be some issue with these options, but both C and D are actually not true in this case. For theta is an acute angle of a right angle triangle, then which of the following equation is true? Yeah, correct. We'll be moving on to the next question then. Okay, then we have, if the zeros of the quadratic polynomial x square plus a plus 1x plus b are 2 and minus 3, then the value of a and b is something that we are supposed to find. Okay, so we have the value of alpha is 2 and beta is gonna be minus 3. Okay, so alpha plus beta, alpha into beta is equal to 2 into minus 3, which will give you minus 6, and alpha plus beta will be equal to 2 plus minus 3, which will be equal to minus 1. Now again what I'm gonna do is, since this equation is already in standard form, nothing is over here, which means a is equal to 1, b will be equal to a plus 1, and c will be equal to actually b. Okay, fine. So the relationship between coefficient and the zeros of a quadratic polynomial is something like this: alpha plus beta is equal to minus b upon a. Okay, so alpha plus beta we already know, alpha plus beta is minus 1, so minus 1 is equal to minus b. The value of b is a plus 1, so I'll write a plus 1 upon a. The value of a is gonna be 1. So minus minus gets cancelled. We have 1 is equal to a plus 1, a is equal to 1 minus 1, a will be equal to 0. So we have the value of a now. Okay, so only place where a is equal to 0 is option D. Here, without even solving, I can say that option number D is the correct one, but still for the sake of verification we'll solve it. Okay, so what we'll do is alpha into beta is equal to b is equal to c upon a. So alpha into beta is equal to minus 6. We'll write minus 6 upon a, and the value of a is 1, so we'll get minus 6, and that's it. Option number D is correct. Okay, option number D is actually correct. Okay, I hope so. There is no doubts or confusion. Okay, here rather than this I can say minus 6 is equal to b. So b will be equal to minus 6. That's the answer. Okay, so option number D, a is equal to 0 and b is equal to minus 6 is the correct answer. Moving on to the next question. If the sum of the first n terms of an AP be 3n square plus n, then and its common difference is 6, then its first term is. Let's say that we have a series of number like this. If I take this first term, if I take the sum of first, sum of first means only the first, right? Sum of first means only the first, because we're not adding it with anything. So always keep this in mind, that if you find S1 and A1 will always be equal. S1 and A1. the first term and the sum of first term, these two things are always equal, and this is something that usually the students get confused with. Okay, so when you don't add with anything, you have only one number in your sum of n numbers, right? That itself will be the number. I hope so this is clear, right? Okay, so here what I'm gonna do is, because we are supposed to find out the first term of this AP, what we are gonna do is, we are gonna find out the value of S1. Okay, here in the question we got the value of Sn. The expression of Sn is 3n square plus n. What we are supposed to do is, we are supposed to find out S1. Why do we get this difference is 6? Sometimes in question you get unnecessary values or unnecessary information to confuse you. Okay, so make sure that you're never confused. If your concepts are really very clear, you will never get confused. Okay, so we have S1 is equal to 3 into 1 square plus 1, which will be equal to 3 into 1 plus 1, which will be equal to 3 plus 1, which is 4. Therefore S1 is equal to A is equal to 4. That is the answer. Option number D is your correct answer. Option number D is your correct answer with this logic. Okay, I believe this is again clear to all of you. Moving ahead, the volume of a right circular cone whose area of the base is 156 centimeter square and the vertical height is 8 centimeter, then what would be the value of so? Okay, so we have a right circular cone. So we have a right circular cone. Okay, so let's say that this is the center and here we have the height. Okay, and this will be the radius. Now this part is actually called as the circular base. Okay, now this circular base is actually a circle, right? So the area of the circular base can be written as pi r square. Okay, but the area of the circular base is already given in the question. It is 156. So I'll say that the value of pi r square is 156. Keep this in mind. Okay, the value of pi r square over here, which is the area of circle, is how much? 156. Then we have the height. Height over here h will be equal to 8. 8 what? 8 centimeter. So here two things we know. Area of circle is equal to pi r square, which is equal to 156 centimeter square. Okay, sorry, centimeter cube. Okay, we have the volume, right? Okay, and the next thing is h. H is equal to how much? 8. Now what would be the volume? So volume of cone is written as 1 by 3 pi r square h. Okay, 1 by 3 pi r square h will be the formula for volume of cone. Okay, now 1 by 3 into pi r square is 156. So 156 into 8. That's how it is. Okay, that's how simple it is. Okay, then how we can solve it? So 156 can be divided by so 156 ones are 5 and 2. So 52 times 8. So we have 52 times 8. 2s are 16, 40, 41, 416. So 416 centimeter cube is my correct answer. Okay, so this was the only trick part of the question. If you understand about this, then it will be super easy for you to solve this question. Okay, moving ahead to the next question. We are just about to finish the first section of our sample paper. Okay, moving ahead. Then we have 3 chairs and 1 table cost 900 rupees, whereas 5 chairs and 3 tables cost 2100 rupees. If the cost of 1 chair is x, so I'll just write it over here. Cost of 1 chair is x and cost of 1 table is y. Then the situation can be represented algebraically in what sense? Okay, so here we have 3 chair and 1 table. So 3x plus 1y is equal to 900. Okay, and the other one is saying 5 chair and 3 table. So 5 chair and 3 table will be equal to 2100. Okay, well, that's it. Okay, so we'll try to find out the value, the correct answer. So 3x plus y, 3x plus y is equal to 900, and no, not this one, 3x plus y is equal to 900, and then 5x plus 3y 21. Yes, option number C is correct. Let's verify with others also. This is wrong, this is again wrong, because the it should be over here y, not 3y, right? So option C is the correct one. 3x plus y is equal to 900, and 5x plus 3y is equal to 2100. Very straightforward and simple question. Okay, so you will get a mix of slightly hard and very easy questions. Okay, moving ahead to the next question. Okay, so here we are starting with assertions and reasoning. Okay, and we'll try to find out solve the two questions over here. Okay, this is question number 18. Now see, if you select option A says that both assertion and reason are true, and R is actually explanation of A. B, both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. In option C, A is true but R is false. In D, A is false but R is true. Okay, so remember all of this. Here is the question. Assertion: for an angle whose value is between 0 and less than or equal to 90, we have cosec minus cot and cosec plus cot are reciprocal of each other. This is one thing. Second reason: cosec square theta plus cot square theta is equal to 1. Okay, let's try to find out. So cosec square theta minus cot square theta is the equation that we have got. What we can do is, we can see that this is written in the form of a square minus b square. So we can write it in the form a plus b into a minus b. Okay, so we will say cosec square theta plus, let me check once again, cosec and cot, right, and cot square theta into cosec square theta minus cot square theta, okay, will be equal to 1. Okay, one thing that I have made a mistake is that we don't need to write the squares now, because it is a plus b into a minus b, right? Okay, so then what we'll do is, we'll take this part and put it in the denominator in the RHS. So we'll get cosec theta plus cot theta will be equal to 1 upon cosec theta minus cot theta. And that is exactly what we wanted. We wanted to see that this term is the reciprocal of this, and when we say reciprocal, we do 1 upon something, right? Which is true. This means that what we will say is, the assertion is also true, the reason is also true, and both of these two are connected also. So reason is correct too. So A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation for A. So that will be option number A. So option A is correct. Okay, moving ahead to the next question now. Now the next question is assertion: if 5 plus 7 is a root of quadratic equation with rational coefficient, the rational coefficient, okay, rational coefficient, then its order, or then its other root is 5 minus root 7. Reason is, third roots of quadratic equation with rational coefficient occur in conjugate pairs. Conjugate pairs means what? If one is something plus some, then the other root will be something minus something. So conjugate pair means if you get a plus b, its conjugate pair will be a minus b, right? So if you have one root as 5 plus root 7, then the other root will be 5 minus root 7, right? Okay, and this is something that we have already learned in quadratic equations, that when you get these kind of this kind of equation where the root is actually a surd, right? In that case you will always get in conjugate pairs. Conjugate pairs as in if one is an expression of sum, the other will be expression of difference, okay? Which means that both of these two things are true and R is the correct reason of A, which means that option A is again the correct option in this case, okay? I believe this is clear to all of you, okay? Moving ahead to the next part, we are done with all 1 mark question over here, okay? Now the next thing that we are moving ahead is question number 2, okay, or 2 mark question, okay? Moving ahead, question number 21 over here is 2 numbers are in the ratio 2/3, 2:3, and their LCM is 180. What is the HCF of this number, okay? This is the first question that we have, okay? So let's try to find out. And then we have an optional question also, which is find the HCF and LCM of 72 and 120, okay? And then we have question number 22 also over here, okay? So let's try to find out this first. 2 numbers are in the ratio 2:3. So I'm gonna write the two numbers as 2x and 3x. What is the x? X is actually the common factor between these two. This common factor can also be considered as the HCF of these two numbers. Why? Because this number was the responsible number which reduced this fraction into its simplest form, correct? Which means that this x itself is the HCF. So we need to find out the value of x, okay? Now what we'll do is, since we have these two numbers, we can write 2x is equal to 2 into x, and 3x can be written as 3 into x. How do we find out the LCM? LCM can be written as, we'll take all the numbers of its greater order but only once, okay? So 2, how many we have? Only 1, and we'll take the greatest order, so we'll have 2. Same for 3 and same for x, so that will give you 6x. But in the question itself, it was given that the LCM is how much? 180. So we'll say 180. So x will be equal to 180 divided by 6, which will give you 30. X is equal to 30. So this is the HCF, highest common factor, okay? HCF. So we are done with solving the first question, okay? Now moving to the second one. Second one, we are supposed to find out the HCF and LCM of 72 and 120, okay? I'll solve it over here so that I can save some space for the next question, okay? So here what I'll say is 72. I'll do all the prime factorization of 72. So I'll just use a division method over here. So 72 divided by 2 will get how much? 36. Divided by 2 will get 18. Divided by 2 we'll get 9, divided by 3 we get 3, divided by 3 we get 1. So that can be written as 3 and 3 square into 2 cube, okay? 3 square into 2 cube. Then moving ahead to the next number is 120. So 120 can be written as, divided by 2 we'll get 60, divided by 2 we'll get 30, divided by 2 we get 15, divided by 3 we get 5, divided by 5 we get 1, okay? So 120 can be written as let's say that will be 3 times 2 and 3 and 5. So 3 times 2 and then 3 and then 5. Now for LCM I've already explained. For LCM what we'll do is we'll take all the term of the highest order only once, okay? So for LCM it's gonna be 3. So we have 3 over here and here. So which 3 should I take? The one which has highest order. So we have 3 square and we have 3 power 1. So I'll take 3 square. So 3 square into, then we have 2. 2 is of the same order, so we'll just take 2 cube into 5, okay? That will give you 9 into 8 into 5, okay? So this will be the least common multiplier, okay? 9 into 8 into 5, okay? We can write this as let's say 9 is a 72, so 72 360, we'll get 360 as the answer. 360 is the LCM of these two numbers. Then we'll try to find out the HCF. Okay, HCF is nothing but the highest common factor. Okay, highest common factor. Okay, so how do we find out the highest common factor? We'll take all the common terms from it. Okay, from both the places. So here we can take 1 3 because that's common, right? Then here we can take all the entire 2 cube, and 5 cannot be taken because 5 is not common in both the places. So highest common factor will be 3 times 9, which is 27. So HCF is equal to 27 and LCM is equal to 360. That's how you find out the value of HCF and LCM. Okay, fine. Moving ahead. Okay, we don't have any empty slide over here, but okay, let's make it over here only. Fine. So then the next thing that we are supposed to solve is evaluate this expression. Okay, now here we'll need the table of trigonometric values. Okay, so this was something that I covered in the previous class also, but I'll cover once again. So we have 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 all divided by 4, right? And then you divide and then take the root. So divide 0 root will be 0, 1 by 4 root 1 by 2, then this is half, so half root will be 1 by root 2, this is root 3 by 2, and this will be 1. So this is the value of sine. Okay, and then we can write 1 by 9, this will be root 3 by 2, then 1 by root 2, 1 by 2, and then 0. So this is the value of sine theta, and this is the value of cos theta. That's how simple you can get it. And with the help of this, we can get any value of any trigonometric ratio. Okay, and just for your understanding, I'll just write the degrees also. So 0 degree, then we have 30 degree, 45 degree, 60 degree, and then 90 degree. Let's try to solve this. So 5 times cos square 60. So cos 60 is half. So 5 times of half squared plus 4 times sec 30. Sec 30 is actually the reciprocal of cos 30. So cos 30 is root 3 by 2. So we'll take 2 by root 3 square minus tan 45. Tan square 45. So tan 45 will be actually 1. So we'll say 1 square whole divided by. Okay, then we have sine 30. Sine 30 is half. So half square plus cos square 30. Cos square 30 is root 3 by 2. So we'll say root 3 by 2 the whole square. Okay, so what we'll get is 5 into 1 by 4 plus 4 into 4 by 3 minus 1 whole divided by, here we can write 1 by 4 plus this will be 3 upon 4. Okay, let's try to solve it more. So we'll get 5 by 4 plus 4 4s are 16, so 16 by 3 minus 1 whole divided by, here we'll get 1 plus 3 upon 4. So 1 plus 3 upon 4. So 1 plus 3 will be 4. 4 divide will happen, and then we'll be left with only this portion. So that will be 5 minus 4 plus 16 by 3 minus 1. Okay, then here we have nothing, so we can write 1. Now we'll take the LCM of 4, 3 and 1. So 4 3s are 12. So we'll convert this into 12. So this is 12, this will be 12, this multiply by 4, multiply by 4, multiply by 3, multiply by 3. I'm not having any space left, but yeah, let's try to write over here. So 5 3s are 15. So I'll 15 plus 16 4s are that will be 64 plus, then we have 12 whole divided by 12. Okay, so that will give us it will be 15 plus 2 is 27. 27 will be 91 by 12. 91 by 12. That will be your final answer. That's it. Okay. So here what value are we getting is, we are getting 91 by 12. So 91 by 12. That's the answer for the evaluation of this expression. Okay. I believe this is clear to all of you. Okay. Moving ahead. Now the next question is, in the given below left figure, ABC is a triangle in which DE and BC are parallel. So DE and BC, they are parallel. AD is x, DB is x minus 2, DB is x minus 2, AE is x plus 2, and then EC is x minus 1. Find the value of x. We'll use the basic proportionality theorem once again over here. So basic proportionality theorem will say this upon this will be equal to this upon this, right? So x upon x minus 2 will be equal to x plus 2 upon x minus 1. Okay, crisscross method. So x into x minus 1 is equal to x plus 2 into x minus 2, which will give you x square minus x is equal to x square minus 2 square, right? Because I am writing using the equation identity a square minus b square. Okay, so let me write this also properly. So we have x square minus x is equal to x square minus 2 square. So x square gets cancelled. What you will get is minus x will be equal to 4. So x is equal to minus 4. Here is the value that we have. Okay, x is equal to minus 4. Let me check if this is right. X upon x minus 2 and x plus 2 upon x plus 1, x minus 1, a square minus b square. Yeah, x, the value of x is correct. Okay, moving ahead to the next part. Then we have diagonals AC and BD of trapezium ABCD with AB, DC intersect each other at point O. So we have the diagonals of this trapezium. The diagonals are meeting at point O. Okay, see the right sided figure. Okay, show that OA upon OC is equal to OB upon OD. Okay, OA and OC. So OA and OC is equal to OB and OD. Okay, so basically they are coming from this triangle and this triangle. Okay, OA. So if we talk about this triangle, right, this is one triangle ADB where we can take BO and OD, and the other triangle is ODC where these two are the thing, right? So what I can do is I can make a construction over here, and let's say that this is point E. Okay, so I have taken a point E such that if I connect O and E together, OE will be parallel to AB and parallel to DC also. Okay, now the pieces of this fraction that we want to take is coming from this triangle and then this triangle. We'll take these two triangles one by one and use BPT theorem. Okay, and why I'm taking that? Because in these two triangles, this side is common, so I can create an equation and then equate these two equations to get this expression. It's just a 3-step question. Okay, so using basic proportionality theorem in triangle. Now which triangle are we talking of? Triangle ADB. Okay, ADB by BPT, by basic proportionality theorem, what you will get is, you will get DE and AE, DE, okay, DE, DE upon AE will be equal to DE upon AE will be DO upon OB. So we'll say DO upon OB. This is equation number 1. Then we'll say in triangle Now we'll take this triangle. So we took this one, right? So here we'll take CDA. In triangle CDA, again by BPT, again by BPT. Let me come back over here. Yeah. Again what we'll do is we'll say DE upon EA will be OC upon AO, right? So we'll say DE upon AE will be equal to CO upon AO. Okay, now in both the cases, if you see equation number 1 and 2, in both the places my LHS is same, and because my LHS is same, I'll take these two equations and equate them. So the equation will be DO upon OB will be CO upon AO, and that's what we wanted to see. OA OC, and then OB OD. The only thing is like it's in reciprocal form, so I'll take the reciprocal in both the sides. So we have OB upon OD is equal to OA upon CO. That's it. That's my proof for it. So we have solved first question and the optional question both over here. Okay, I believe everyone has understood the concepts. Okay, moving ahead to the next part. So question number 24, a line intersects y-axis and x-axis at point P and Q respectively. Okay, we don't know what these points actually are, but what we can do is we can just create this line. Okay, it can be this way also, it can be this way also, it can be this way also, but let's assume that this is the line. Okay, okay, just for the sake of simplicity. Okay, so we have 2 points, point P and point Q, okay, respectively. Then we say that R is 2.2, is the midpoint of line segment PQ. Then find the coordinates on PQ. Okay, so PQ, the midpoint of PQ is given as R, and R is 2, 5. Okay, we are supposed to find out the coordinates of P and Q. Let's try to see what is the coordinate of P and Q respectively. Okay, so this is the y-axis, this is the x-axis. Okay, for P, because this point is on the y-axis, the value of x will be how much? It will be 0. Okay, it will be how much? It will be 0. So the value of P is gonna be 0, and the value of y is gonna be something. So I'll name it as y. Likewise, for question number 6, for Q also, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say that for Q, because this point is on x-axis, the value of x is gonna be something, but the value of y is gonna be 0. Okay, and this is how we'll try to equate it. So we'll say R, which is 2, 5, is the midpoint of the two points P and Q. So that is x1, y1, and this will be x2, y2. Okay, x2 and y2. Okay, moving ahead. So we have x1 plus x2 upon 2 is the formula, and then we have y1 plus y2 upon 2. Okay, so x1 plus x2, x1 is 0 plus x, so we have 0 plus x upon 2, comma, here we'll get y1 y plus 0, so y plus 0 upon 2. This is actually the value of the coordinates, right? So 2 can be represented over here, phi is actually the y coordinate, right? So now we can take this information and write something like this. 2 is equal to 0 plus x will be x upon 2, so x will be equal to 4, right? That's it. So the value of x is received. Okay, and then we are saying that phi is equal to y plus 0 is 0, right? Is y, so y will be equal to 10, y is equal to 10. We got that value also. But this is not the final answer. The thing that we are supposed to find was the coordinates of PQ, not the value of x and y. So what are the coordinates of PQ? P was 0 comma y, and y is how much? 10. So now this will become 0 comma 10, and then we have the value of q. The coordinate of q was x comma 0, and the value of x is how much? 4. So we're gonna write 4 comma 0. Okay, so the coordinates of p and q is gonna be what? P is 0 comma 10 and q is 4 comma 0, these two values. Okay, so I believe that's it. Okay, so this is how we solve this question. Okay, pretty much straightforward and easy. Moving ahead to the next question that we have over here is, in the given figure, PA is a tangent to a circle drawn from the external point P. So P is the external point, P is the external point and P is the tangent, and PBC is the secant. So PBC is the secant. Okay, to the circle with BC as diameter. BC is the diameter. Okay, if angle AOC is 130 degree, angle AOC is 130, find the measure of angle APB. So APB is something that we are supposed to find. So let's say x. Okay, now we know that the the radius and the point where the tangent is meeting the circle is always 90 degree. What I can do is I can simply say that this is 90 degree. And if you see in triangle PAO, angle AOC is the remote exterior angle, and because it is a remote exterior angle, it means that we can use remote exterior angle theorem, or we can also sometimes call it as remote interior angle theorem, right? Because for this angle AOC, the two angles inside the triangle are remote. Remote means far away. Okay, so we'll say in triangle PAO, we'll say by remote interior angle theorem, we'll say angle AOC is equal to angle AOC is equal to angle PAO plus angle APO. Okay, or we can also say it as APB. Okay, APB, the thing is the same, right? AOC is equal to how much? 130. APO is equal to how much? APO is going to be x. APB. Okay, let me make some changes over here. So we have AOC 130. Okay, PAO is 90 minus x. So x will be equal to what we'll get is x will be coming over here. We'll get minus 130 minus 90. So x will be equal to how much? It will be 40 degrees. So that's the answer that we are actually getting from it. Okay. The other way that you can find out is by using linear pair of angles. So using linear pair of angles, here you will get 50 degree, right? So 50 and 90 and 50 are there, and if you do add these two numbers, what you will get is you will get 140, and 140 minus 180 will be again 40 degrees. So you will still get the correct answer. Okay, I believe this is clear to all of you, right? I believe we are done with our finally live part. Okay, so thank you so much guys, thank you so much for connecting with me and joining this live session. I'm really happy to have such a great audience who are interacting with me in the chat section as well, right? All right, and we wish to see you very soon in the evening. We'll be covering the next part of the question paper, so stay tuned. These sample papers will help you to understand that how to solve the questions properly and how to be prepared with your board examinations. Thank you. Please put a like in this video, subscribe to our channel to not miss on any updates, and make sure that you always follow up and get prepared for your exams very nicely. Wishing you all the best, guys. See you in the evening. Srikesh Sir will be taking the evening session, so stay tuned. Bye bye, take care, have a great